You happy? You happy, boy? Yeah, Daddy.
Oh, wow. It really surprises me how ugly the wall behind us is. Sad beige blinds. If only we had a new office. Hey, you! I don't know why, but saying that always catches me by surprise. Hey, you! My name is TomSka Ridgewell, and welcome back to content. I don't know if this is going to be the regular kind of, whoa, crazy exciting content spuff, because... Spuff? Yes. This is going to be some content spuff. Welcome to Dog Squid. Oh, fuck my life. Here we go. I was going to do a video where I read out and reacted to hate comments, because I thought that could be kind of funny, and I could also just monetize hatred against me. What better way to win than get ad revenue off it? But then I actually read some hate comments, and it turns out they're really mean and actually make me kind of sad. So, fuck that noise. I have, however, been clearing through my hard drives, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to just show you some of the cool stuff I found. Cool is very subjective. Cool to me. Stuff that kind of catalogs my journey as a creative, as an artist. Emphasis on air quotes, because clearly I gave up on the art thing, because I'm now just a hack writer that's been making the same jokes for, as you'll soon see, 14 years. Here we go! Here we go! Eddie, can you just help me out here, please?
Here we go! Here we go! What's happening?
I'll never be Mario. Do you like my new heart t-shirt? It's got a little heart on it and it's pink. I like wearing pink, but these days it does just make me look like a giant piece of ham. So let's start off with my general art journey. We'll jump in with the oldest file I have, which is this. Dr. Gerbil and Professor Hamster in Alpha Rodent. Are the Matrix influences a bit obvious? I think they might be. I actually drew this all in Microsoft PowerPoint using like shapes and word art, obviously, because I didn't know that art was made in other programs. In my little 11-year-old brain, I sincerely thought that all animation, Disney, Pixar, was all done in Microsoft PowerPoint. I was in Mensa. No fucking excuse. But don't worry, it wasn't all it wasn't all digital art, because this is the caliber of content I was creating at the age of 12 and 13. So good art. Good. God, just drawing more lines doesn't make it better, little Tom. But eventually, I discovered Microsoft Paint and started drawing really violent art of sticks killing each other. This one's got a shotgun for an arm and lightning powers, and this goth is apparently beating this man's head to death with a baseball bat. Stabbing is fun, written in knives. Holy shit. Yeah, I went to therapy, I think, around about this time in my life, because I don't know if it was related, but it fucking should have been this masterpiece as well. What's really funny is I remember posting these onto a website called Stick Suicide, which would become Explosum, who do Cyanide and Happiness, and everyone being like, huh, I don't think you drew these yourself, these are too good. And I was like, no, I really did. I realize now, they were probably being sarcastic, weren't they? Because I do doubt that they were sincerely calling this good.
I know, it's really good, Tom.
Oh, I think really?
Look at, yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's that photo.
Yeah, it is.
Wow.
It's some photo of my dreams.
How'd you stop?
Therapy. I was also very into Neopets at this point in my life. If you don't know what Neopets is, that's probably for the best. So this is my Neopet, and his pet. Exaborex? Is that how you pronounce Zaborex? I don't know, idiot child. Now, fun fact about this image is you might actually think this is an undoctored photo. I'm actually not really strangling a stickman. That he has been added in post. Fake news, as they'd call it these days. I guess no one told me at this point in my life that being a pencil dick was a bad thing, because I think I thought this was really fucking cool. Alright, so now we're gonna start getting to know my sense of humor a little bit. This is a comic I made when I was like 12 or 13 called Doors, and it's 3 panels of a guy standing still, and then I guess your expectations are subverted because he hits the door. Were you expecting the door to open, maybe? I don't know, but this trend is going to continue. Kind of a nicely drawn door though, so go me. I've clearly discovered Flash at this point in time. Haven't figured out how like limb lengths work though. Speaking of comics, here is seemingly a helpful guide on how to prank someone to death. You gotta put a bit of money on some string. It's you there, and then a moron will walk along, skip along even. They'll be like, OMG! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, 1 ongoing. Money! This is how things were spelt back then. Everything was ending in EH. Then you take the money away, clearly labeled, and their fucking head will fall off. They're dead now, you've killed someone. Murder. So this image was actually just my desktop background for a couple of years that I made myself, but what I like about it is you can see that this is where my style is starting to come in, where you got these mouths overextending and just the the general simplisticness of it, where it's like, I don't know how to draw, but I'm going to work with it. Gosh darn it. Before I move on to the next thing, though, I want to just show you some of the other oldest things I have, which are these little stickers that I made in MS Paint, where it's a bunch of characters, and I guess the idea was you'd print them off and collect them all. Just wanted friends. And you've got, like, Dark Squidge, which was my character. You had a top hat and a knife, apparently. Got a blue alien. You've got a gunslinger. Is that what I don't know what he's got in his holster. I can only assume it's a gun. Looks like a sonic screwdriver. Escaped con. Western cowboy Tom would have been a fine. Could have just said cowboy. Guitarist, sniper. Oh, these guys are great. Oh, the martial artist has bright yellow skin, and let's go ahead and call them Brock Eyes. Alright, I think that's enough of that. Before I move on with explicitly my art, I think I'm going to jump back and talk about Ed's World and how I got into that. So this is the first piece of fan art that I ever sent to Ed when I found his videos. Specifically, I'm copying his style in a video called Ed Again, and I sent him this, and he was like, hey, thanks, that you've just basically traced my art. He liked pointing out the negatives quite a lot. So then I was like, oh, sure, well, I'll draw my own character, which was just me with a blue hoodie, but still no face. And he said, hey, you've stolen my art again. Stop just copying me. So I was like, oh, well, I'll set me apart. And I just put a line on it. So, but this then developed into the first sort of like Ed's World comics, which were called the Best of the Worst, which was just Ed's character, my character. The first one ever, I think this is from like 2003, is called The Legacy of Tom and Ed. #1, and this is some pretty highbrow comedy. Ed's hair is on fire, or his head is on fire. Specifically his eyebrows. Tom says, "Oh my God!" You expect he's gonna be reacting to the hair, but really he's reacting to a squirrel. So there you go. Some pretty lol random comedy there. So then a fellow called Tord entered Ed's World, and I did this comic, which once again is 3 panels of a guy just standing up. And then I guess he falls over or dies. That's some comedy. Good job, me. So not long after like the Ed's World gang of Tom, Tord, and Ed formed, Ed went offline for a few months, and I didn't really know why. I guess his internet went down or something. It was a time before smartphones, so that could happen. So I drew this very emotional little picture saying, "Then it was over, and here's a version with footsteps in the snow." Very sad. And then 6 months later, Ed comes back and does this response drawing saying, guess who's back? It's Ed. Ed was back. There we go. So going back to my own artwork, we come to my 15th birthday. And how do I decide to celebrate that? Why, drawing a picture of myself saying, shove it up your ass, fat ugly guy at Blockbusters. This guy must have stopped me from renting a 15 rated movie at one time. And I'm a petty little bitch boy. So there we go. This is actually probably one of the like best things I've actually ever done, which is funny because it's a sudden step up in quality. I was a part of an animation group called the Lock Legion, which were a response to another animation group called the Clock Crew, and I drew this picture with like all the people I knew on the forum. Naturally, I put myself right in the middle. With my friends, because I didn't really read the room. Not like anyone liked me there anyway. But one thing that is cool about this is if you look at it, you can see a bunch of people who went on to do other cool stuff. Like you have Cloudlock here, who's also One Shop, who animates Crash Zoom and Asta Movie. You've got Headlock, aka Rubber Ninja, Ross, who now works with the Game Grumps. You've got Headlock, Masterlock, sorry, who is Hedgebits, a webcomic artist. Just generally, yeah, it's cool to see that where people went. Don't know where everyone else is though. I just have to assume they're dead. It's the only logical conclusion. Here's just a bunch of little art things that I did. I had a mouse and I removed the ball from inside my mouse and I just drew using the wheels on the side, which may sound like a bizarre technology to some of you, but those who knew that kind of technology, that's how I did these. And I just colored them in and then named them after what emotions I thought they looked like. Relaxation, love. I actually really like this one. I think it's really cool because it looks like a heart. Happiness, don't really agree with that one. Excitement, no. Fear, yeah, okay, I can get behind it. Envy, all right. Depression, yeah. Confusion and passion. Oh wow, that does fully look like, I don't know, I can see people fucking there. Eddie, can you see people fucking here?
I guess it's like the one on the left is sitting down and the one on the right is sitting on them.
That's not what I'm seeing at all. Maybe this person's in a wheelchair
Oh.
And they're fucking a child.
Oh.
I don't think that's what I drew. Prints available at Etsy.com now. So let's take a quick detour and talk about the birth of TomSka, the username that I eventually adopted through the medium of edgy photo edits, because why the fuck not? So that's me having a lot of feelings. Where are my eyes? Could this be a little bit more ridiculous? Boom. There he is. He's glowing now. And now, naturally, we get to the point in every young man's life where he thinks that putting on his dad's suit and a hat turns him into a classy gentleman. Bam. M'lady. Why wouldn't girls have sex with me? I was such a nice guy. But as a school project, I did this. I was starting to get into ska music, and I did all these like images of me playing instruments. They're all traced, because I was a piece of shit, but these are just some trace images of me playing ska instruments, and TomSka is born, and then I have, you know, like me playing my bass. TomSka. These are separate words at this time, and this photo as well is I think the first ever instance of me saying Tom and Ska together, written in sand on a beach, washed away by the tide. Does that have a deeper meaning? Probably the fuck not. But this is then when I start developing my whole TomSka look, with my massive bob of hair. My mum was a hairdresser, and the only way I could think to rebel was to not let her cut my hair, and I ended up looking like a Beatle. As in a member of the Beatles, not a Beatle. This is when I started wearing that whole TomSka checker tie wristband look, and this is the fucking amazingly awful photo. Wow. From after I finally got a haircut. Why would I take that and think that looked good? You can just like feel the grease emanating off me. Also, here's me dressing up like a chav for fun. Why did I do that? Who'll ever know? This image is just called Bloodshot Blue Eyes. Because I was like, I'm crying right now. That looks really cool and edgy. Maybe I should have a band called Bloodshot Blue Eyes. Look, when you're 15, you have a lot of thoughts and ideas. All of them are bad. This is... So this is me, with a katana I got from an antiques shop. It probably isn't even actually an antique. Definitely not, in fact. Wearing the blue hoodie, which actually did inspire the hoodie from Eddsworld. You know, it's a little red bit of text on it. And a leather jacket. I assume my dad's. I was wondering if there's a way I could make this image even better. And I did. So this is a recent edit. If you're not nice, my blade shall slice. Just stop me. Unrelated though, but this is just a great photo I took. Look at this dog. He wants to sell you some discount tickets. Of course there'd be discount tickets. This dog I don't trust this dog with anything. Look at him. Look at him resting his arm. I love this dog. This video is about my art. I should go back to that. So one thing I always wanted when I was trying to make it as an actual hands-on artist was I wanted my own animated series. And so I had a lot of ideas for shows. This is the first one from like 2003, 2004 called Everybody Loves Squidgen. That was my original username. The characters include such memorable figures as Undeterminable Mass, Stick, Angry Man, and Effin' Sean Connery. Because once again, everything had to end in EH. This never went anywhere, unsurprisingly. Actually, no, there is one video of it online, but you can find it yourself. This is another lineup of characters about a year later. The Quest for Smirnoff. Because as a 14, 15-year-old, I totally knew what alcohol was, and that should define my personality. So this was just like me and a bunch of people I knew on some forums. Ed, you probably know him. Tyler Legrand, Drunk Cat, and just Angry Face Man, who I think is just a character I made up, who's a guy with an angry face. And I hate to admit, this won't be the last you see of him. So then that changed into animated, where my style has started to actually develop and look pretty clean, which is my best friend Emily at the time, an evil version of myself, a normal version of myself, Dark Squidge, again, who is also seemingly an evil version of myself, so that the first one seems a bit redundant, and Ed. And then here we are as a band with my friend Matty playing guitar instead. And then I was like, no, my character is not edgy enough. So I drew, I guess, my ideal of what a cool dude looked like with a checkered tie and wristband and cargo trousers and grey shoes, apparently very important, and ripped sleeves. And then finally we had the final lineup for animated, which was Ed, me, and my friend Maddie. And oddly enough, nothing ever came of this. You can see some like hints of it in my my old animations video, which you can find, but yeah, that was just obviously abandoned. But these are the emoticons that I made for MSN Messenger. So I had like custom emoticons back in like 2005. And once I'd drawn these, I had the idea like, oh, I could make a webcomic out of these. I could just take these heads and give them like the personalities of whatever face they're always making. And then oh my god, I wrote the Emoji Movie. And then Astif's in the Emoji Movie. Wow, that's magical. I like that a lot. I did, though, think, hey, I can do a comic about this. So I took the emo character and the Angry Face Man, gotta have Angry Face Man, and made the first ever comic, which would be the only comic I ever did in this series. No, I want to emphasize that I was, I think, 15 when I made this. So we have 3 panels of emo doing nothing, and then Angry Face Man, who I guess is supposed to represent, like, internet trolls, shows up and says, nobody fucking cares. Shut the fuck up, emo fag. For fuck's sake, get the fuck out. Exclamation mark, 1. So anyway, I abandoned that idea and started the Astif series instead. So here's a little doodle, which is just an Astif face with stay safe. What does that mean? I don't know, but it somehow wound up in Eddsworld as well. And then the first ever Astif comic, Die Potato. No squelch. Genius stuff. That's actually like the best foot I think I've ever drawn, which could also easily be interpreted as a giant finger. But hey, I'm proud of it. Then I did a comic series where I did like 30 of these. I did this drawing of Astif Land, which would also eventually find its way into Eddsworld. And there's a bunch of Astif references throughout Eddsworld, because Ed actually really liked it, and he even made me a little song about it, which I'm gonna play for you now. Instrumentals are obviously just stolen, but you get the vague idea, and it's really sweet, so here we go.
ASDF man, I enjoy spam. I'm stupidly happy, my smile is you. My situations are so awkward, and yet you like to read them and laugh.
So oddly enough, I never did anything with that on account of the fact that he's pronouncing Astif wrong. He was the first to call it ASDF. Damn him, he did this to me. But then, yep, obviously, as you know, I went on to make Astif Movie with an animator called James, and that's the story of Astif. The rest is very publicly available in the form of videos. Okay, so I put this off long enough. Let's get back to my art. So, for context, I'm 16. I sincerely believe that God is punishing me for masturbating by giving my friend cancer, and I've stopped doing that, and so I'm very pent up. And this is the art that comes out of that. Oh god. So this is called Complexity, and that's a vagina. It's a very artistic interpretation of one. I'm glad they don't actually look like that, in case you're now terrified of them. It looks like a little suit. With some spirally ovaries, I assume? I was going through a phase of reading a lot of, like, sex ed stuff because I was like, well, I can't do anything remotely sexual, so I can read. And then naturally I started taking it out on people who could have sex. So I did this thing called Promiscuous. Hooked on sex. And I honestly can't with 100% certainty say that that's not just like a photo of my penis when I was like 15 or 16 that I've traced over. I hope it's not, but I put little hooks on it. So once again, not what actual genitals look like. Oh, for fuck's sake. But then, and then here's me screaming, feed me pornos to my internet girlfriend, which I'm guessing is probably in reference to me wanting her to send me nudes, because that's all I was about at that age. But now we get on to the coolest thing I think I've ever drawn, which is this. This little drawing of me playing a guitar. I think, like, the actual style and, like, perspective and anatomy is really cool, and I like it a lot. And you can also see it's the first ever instance of, like, the TomSka signature being used. This is, like, 2006 or 7, I think. And then, like, Ed was even inspired, and he kind of, like, did a drawing of me in like, his style, doing the same kind of pose, which was really cool. But then again, I also just found this, which by Ed, which says, I hope Tom dies of butt rot. So, thanks, Ed. It's very kind of you. Here's a drawing I did, little doodle of how we recorded, I think one of the Eddsworld episodes, probably 25 feet under the sea. We needed some, like, water splashing sounds. I got in the bath at his house and splashed around. He had his laptop rested on a toilet, and we put the microphone in a sock. That's science for you. That's some sound science. Here's a little comic about Jehovah's Witnesses coming to my door. When I went to uni, they would still show up, even though I was not practicing anymore, obviously. And so this is an artistic representation of me running away. And following that, here's a comic about me. It's called The Time I Swallowed Painkillers Without Drinking Any Water by Thomas Ridgewell. And this may blow your mind, but it's a comic about that time I swallowed painkillers without drinking any water. Now I do that on the regs, because I'm always in pain. So before we finish off, like, the last of my drawings, I have to show you these kind of, like, weird little self-portrait things that I did. I called them mental pictures. And they're just self-portraits with little quotes of mine on them. And they're kind of embarrassing. They're a little cringy. But hey, well, that's what you're here for, right? Is the cringe. This is just, it says, I knew it was time to delete my social networking profiles the moment I realized I was afraid to do so. And this is in reference to me in 2008. I deleted all my pages, my MySpace page, my Facebook page. If I had a Bebo, I deleted that as well. I didn't have a MySpace then. And I deleted them for the entirety of the time I was at uni as some sort of weird social protest, because I realized I was, like, becoming addicted to them. How I should never have gone back. People call me paranoid. I just think I'm observant. Also, your cat hates me. My apathy revokes my right to complain. I guess this was probably in reference to my own body image. Oh, 18-year-old Tom, you thought you knew what it was to be fat. Animosity cures cowardice. You know what? I very much stand by this. Fuck you, Anon. This one's great. This was right before I finished going to church. Church scares me. I'm afraid I'll meet a wonderful girl and destroy her. Stop it. Pessimism is just an optimist's word for realism. Whoa, that's real fake deep philosophy, Tom. Asshole. Life is a series of judgment calls. For the indecisive, there's religion. Whoa, that's also pretty fake deep. Atheist, agnostic, teenage Tom. What if the people around you were the only other survivors of a nuclear apocalypse? Guys, if you were the only other survivors of a nuclear apocalypse, who would you want me to fuck first?
I'll go with me.
Oh,
I'll take one for the team.
Such a cuck. So let's finish off my art. I've officially bled this well dry. So this is called I'm Doing an Internet. I must have done this around about the time I made Asta Movie 4. I think this is probably what inspired that sketch. I think it was like some gag that I was doing on my live streams when I was doing those. Just cheeky bit of drunk science. Why not? At the end of uni, I remade my Facebook and I made this little helpful chart to figure out whether or not you should add me. Are you over 18? Yes. Are you related to me? If yes, then don't add me. If no, do I know you in real life? Followed by, but like, do I actually know you? And then, look, were we even actually friends? Clearly this is to weed out old classmates. And then it goes to add me. I think there was a version of this where it was like, are you over 18? Are you a cute girl? Send me nudes. I wish I could go back in time and beat myself up. And now to end this video on a really fucking cheery note. So we have now reached the point in my life where Ed died. No way around it. And I started expressing myself. I did a few little drawings trying to express myself about that. And yeah, there's really no way around it. So there's this one, which is pretty fucking intense. I don't want this memory. This is like the image of the open casket funeral really burned into my fucking memory. Immediately followed by this, which is quite obviously about me finding more comfort and solace at the bottom of a bottle than in the real world. And luckily, lots has changed since then. Ha ha ha. So anyway, here's some abandoned concept art for Red Leader and my gem Sona because I love Steven Universe. Today's question of the day is, what's the most embarrassing file you found on your computer? And will someone ever help me? Bye!